Hi, this is April Linville from Linville Counseling Services. I am going to teach you a exercise that I give to some of my clients to work on between sessions. And the name of the exercise is Kill the Ants, Feed Your Anteater. And it was put together by Dr. Daniel Amen of the Amen Clinics. And it comes from his book called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And Kill the Ants, Feed Your Anteater is an example of a cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT intervention. So he has a summary of ants, and the ants stand for is an abbreviation or an acronym for automatic negative thoughts. So ants. And then he lists out some species of ants or types of distorted thinking or negative thoughts. So I'm going to go over those, and the worksheet has them listed out. The first one is always never thinking, and this is thinking in absolutes instead of thinking sometimes these bad things happen, but they don't happen every day. The second one is called focusing on the negative, and that is seeing only the bad in a situation. The third is called fortune telling, and this type of automatic negative thought predicts the worst possible outcome to a situation. The fourth one is mind reading, and this is when you believe that you know what other people are thinking about you or thinking about events, even though they haven't told you yet. The fifth one is thinking with your feelings, and that is if I'm having a sense of dread or anxiety, then that must mean something bad is going to happen. And so I'll base my decisions on my feelings. An example of this would be if I have social anxiety, I'm getting ready to go to a party. I pull up to the house that's hosting it, and then I have a bad feeling or a dread or anxiety about going in. And then I think with those feelings and go, oh, this is not a good idea. I'm not going to attend the party, even though it might actually be what you need to do to address your social anxiety. The sixth one is called guilt beating, and that's when you use words like I should have this, I must do this, I ought to do this, I have to do that. Um, that ends up making people feel guilty and bad. And the seventh type is labeling, and that's when you attach a negative label to yourself. Some people tell themselves, I'm an idiot. That would be an example of labeling. The eighth is called personalizing, and that is when you believe innocent events have some kind of a personal meaning. For instance, if you are at work and someone doesn't say hello to you, you then personalize it to think they're really mad at me, when actually maybe they just had a difficult phone call with a relative and they're kind of preoccupied thinking about that and not being mad at you. And the last species of ants is called blaming, and that's when you blame other people for your problems. Reason that that one is problematic for you is that if the problem that you're facing is someone else's fault, then there's nothing really that you can do to improve or address it. And so it's not real helpful to be thinking in terms of blame. So whenever you notice these ants, sometimes you won't notice them because they're very subtle thoughts, but what you might notice is you're feeling really crummy or low or really anxious. And this would be a good time to get out this exercise. So you would go through those 9 options and say, okay, what kind of species of ant am I dealing with here? And then in order to address the thought, you challenge it with another thought by trying to think of what else could be going on here besides this automatic negative thought that I have assigned to the situation. So I'm going to turn this page and give you some examples. For example, an automatic negative thought you might have is the boss doesn't like me, and that we would then identify the species of ant, and that is called a mind reading ant. And then a way to challenge that thought is to either write the thought and write this response down, or to think back to the thought a different point of view, a challenge. And so the boss doesn't like me. The challenge or kill the ant is I don't know that. Maybe she's having a bad day. Bosses are people too. Another example would be having the thought, the whole class is going to laugh at me when I give my presentation. And that species would be a fortune telling ant. And to challenge that thought, you could think or write down, I don't know that the whole class will laugh at me. Maybe some of them will like my speech. Maybe some of them will be taking a nap. But it's not true that all the people are going to laugh at my presentation. So those are some examples. You don't have to do this every day. Just do it when you feel like you are being overrun with ants at a picnic, where your anxiety is up, your anger's up, your sadness is really intense. That would be the time to get out this um, exercise and work on it. Well, I hope that that was helpful. I know sometimes when you're in therapy with me, you may not remember exactly how we discussed it. And so hopefully this will help you as you are doing your homework. Thanks.